with the project that I'm doing with my AI therapist. Again, it's like there's no real way for me to sort of explore what I wanted to explore, which is in this case using AI to scale like mental health resources, like to like fix the mental health problem. There's no way for me to do that while I'm studying in UCL because there's not a module that's like using AI to solve mental health and whatnot. So I was just like, cool, I guess I'll just try it myself. And now I have this 30K grant from Jamie. It's like fucking everything's falling in line. It's like I got to do this. It's like fate.
And was that the idea that you applied to Jamie's fund?
It was a version of that. Basically, at the beginning, I wanted to do like online therapy. Like have you guys heard of Better Health?
Yeah.
Better Help. Yeah.
Better Help.
Like that, but in Taiwan. But then again, it's still sort of under the same umbrella of using tech to like solve the mental health problem. But when I started talking to therapists in Taiwan, like I quickly realized it's not an accessibility problem in the sense that people aren't accessing therapists because of like price or anything. It's just because there's not enough therapists. So it's a supply shortage. Not a demand or like a education kind of like idea.
Is that in Taiwan or is that global?
I'm pretty sure it's global at this point. But back then I didn't know, because back then it was just that'll be cool. Like let's just like explore that. But so like that's like what I realized, and then I was like, okay, cool. We got this new cool technology, AI, large language models and whatnot that can generate text. And then I played around with a few like existing sort of mental health chatbots, and then I read through a bunch of like the academic papers, because with something like AI therapy, where it's like medicated, like technically medtech, you need like studies to like prove that this thing is like usable, is safe and whatnot. So I read through a bunch of those papers, and then I basically figured out like like how like their system works. Should I get into detail or?
Up to you.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Do you have your
So traditional chatbots, or like mental health chatbots, are built on rule-based systems. So they have their architecture looks something like this. So a user input comes in. So like you tell it, I'm like really upset and whatnot. They have a NLP engine, so natural language processing engine, in the back end. And then basically the inputs get interpreted by this engine, and then they have a database of like pre-written responses, and then this engine would then
like
fetch,
matches it to the right.
and then fetches like the pre-written response, and then like spits it back out and be like, oh, I'm really sorry, feeling this way, and then yada yada yada, and then like the next input comes in the same process, and then they will have like some kind of structure on a guided exercise and whatnot. The good thing about this is that you can control exactly what the chatbot says, but the user experience is subpar, because once you use it a few times, you kind of know what the bot is going to say.
Because it's like those pre-written responses, it doesn't change.
Like it's not personalized to you.
Yeah. So once you use it a few times, you kind of like know the gist of like what's going to happen. On top of that, it can't give you like situation specific advice, which I think it's kind of like the whole point of therapy. It's like, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend or girlfriend, and then, like because of this XYZ, and then like what do I do? And then the therapist be like, okay, let's look at this a certain way, let's look at that way, what happens then and whatnot. But with the chatbot, it would just be like, oh, it's very difficult to deal with heartbreak, and it's important to remember to be kind to ourselves, or something. It's something very generic like that. Anyway, so there was this technology out there already, and at that time, again, I had never touched like this whole entrepreneurship thing. It was really more so just the mindset of doing shit that I find cool, or like stuff that I love. And then I was like, cool, I get it seems pretty intuitive to just throw a large language model on it, and then see what I can make. And that's what I spent the next year and a half doing. And I built something, and it was I got the UCL Clinical Health and Education Department to basically help me run a study on it. Allow me to run a study on it. I'm writing my dissertation on it.
Yeah. Kill 3 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because I wanted to keep working on this. Because like after the gap year, I wanted to keep working on this.
Yeah.
But like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to work on this project and do another dissertation or research project at the same time. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna call up the professor, like the head of like my research project, and I'd be like, hey, look, I have this really cool thing. I want to do a like project on it. Is like, what do I have to do to get that done? And they were like, okay, you got this list of shit that you have to do, and I was like, oh, cool, done, and then here I am. Yeah.
You know, the year and a half that you spent building this thing, it was part of the accelerator program or startup program. Were you in Taiwan or?
I was in Taiwan.
You were in Taiwan. Okay, so this wasn't like an online thing. It was. Did you get like mentorship and things?
Yeah, yeah. So I had a meeting. I want to say like once a month with Jamie, and then I think the most. So the VC is called AppWorks. In case you guys are wondering, I don't think I mentioned it yet, but it's called AppWorks. It's very much so like Y Combinator vibes, like in Taiwan. And I think the biggest value that I got out of that program was I was allowed to go into their office and their co-working space and just sit there and build my shit. And the value of just being there was that they would have actual accelerator people come in, like with actual like startups with like years of experience, with like a PhD in like fucking sonar technology or something like that.
That's
come
crazy.
in, sit across of me, and then I can start a conversation with them.
Yeah.
And that was I think the most value that I gained out of this entire experience, out beyond building my own thing and like running into my own problems. It's being in that sort of environment and then being able to talk to those people, because
you can't get that opportunity elsewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, where else are you gonna find people like this?
Yeah. I mean, one thing you said was about the mentorship, right? But you know, you said you got 30 grand as well. Was that right from the start, or did you have to pitch to get that 30 grand, or did they just?
No, I applied and they
just gave you it straight up first. Because usually, like in YC, you have to pitch first, and then you have a chance of like someone investing into you.
So this is not a startup. It's not a startup like invest. It's not an accelerator or an incubator program.
It's a little bit different.
It's more like a grant.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Jamie's ethos was basically in Taiwan we have a lot of very, very, very like technically talented people. Yeah. But in the system that sort of they've been brought up in is very like industrial sort of education style. Like, you know, if you don't fit into this mold, you're shit. Yeah. Right. And again, you have these super talented people, but not a lot of like new and entrepreneurial ideas. Most of these super talented people, their single goal in life, students at least, their number one goal in life, especially if they're technical, is to get into TSMC. Do you guys know what TSMC is?
No, I'm not sure.
Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Okay. They make 92% of like the chips.
Seriously? Oh, so it's like quite prestigious.
Yeah, that's like the goal. Like, do you guys know about like the semiconductor, like the chip wars?
No. Not
Explain,
really.
please.
Long story short, Taiwan is the best chip maker in the entire world. So all your devices, every single device in this room, probably. Like the chip, the semiconductors came from Taiwan.
Okay.
And
what was the company called again?
TSMC.
TSMC.
Yeah. So Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, all of them gets their chips made in Taiwan. Yeah. And it's one of the big sort of the choke points of like the so-called chip war between America and China, because China thinks Taiwan is part of like
China.
China thinks Taiwan is part of China. Yeah. Taiwan wants independence, so there's like
chip war
again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, and then there are sanctions, tariffs, regulations on like what kind of chips that we can sell to China. When again, I'm not like don't quote me on any of this. This is just me. Yeah, reading like news off of like Instagram. So again, it's
but it's like
false.
I feel it's like a good context to have as to kind of what division.
Yeah. So TSMC is like the it's the Apple of like Taiwan.
Yeah.
That's like where every single talented person wants to go to, and you don't have a lot of people doing startups, especially students.
Okay.
And, I guess his ethos for this whole like, gap year program is to, I'll just give you money and then try and do some cool shit. Yeah.
How many people got into this?
So I think for my year, around 400 people applied.
400
and
people.
I think we had 10 people.
10 people.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then the next year, I think 600. So yeah.
Okay, more and more. I see. And how was that gap year building something from scratch, which I take it you haven't really done something like this before?
And you don't know if it's going to work out or not.
Nope.
Yeah. How was it?
How was it?
Yeah.
So I guess I should give some preface. I had no technical skills prior starting to this, like the gap year.
Yeah.
So I taught myself how to code. In the gap year, and then build the thing like with some help from my friends. And like now my coding skill is good enough that I'm getting scouted for a machine learning engineer role. So that's like
very
cool.
nice.
Wow. But in terms of how is it, I think this is again where like having a boxing career prior to starting entrepreneurship really, really, really helped me. I think a lot of people, especially on the outside of never having done entrepreneurship or like startups before, they look at building a company or like being an entrepreneur as the glitz and glamour, like saying, oh, I raised this much money, I did this, I talked with this person, I scored this client, and
it's
whatnot.
the thing you see on LinkedIn where
yeah.
all success stories.
I think that's what most people see, but behind the scenes, it's a lot of like just labor and like sit there and read through like 30 papers, like just like dumb shit. Yeah. But because I've been through like this whole like having a boxing career, boxing is remarkably similar. On the stage and like getting your hand raised and winning the title, whatever, a boxing round's only 9 minutes. Okay, like 9 minutes of glory, that's what everyone else sees. And like 30 seconds of you getting your hand raised and then everyone cheering for you. It's like, yeah, you're the champion now. Yeah. But behind the scenes, it's 3-4 months of waking up at 6 and running like 5 miles every single day. It's going to the gym, doing push-ups and punching a bag and skipping rope. And you do that every single day. And you stretch. And that's it, right? It's so boring. It's not fun to look at. It's like you would see me running on like the street and you'll walk past me and you'd be like, okay, cool, that guy's exercising. But like that's sort of what that's the sort of incremental efforts that you build up to that that big 9-minute section where like okay, all of this work you've put in and now you have to like show all of it, and then you get your hand raised and it's like, oh yeah, and then everyone thinks you're like some kind of fucking genius because you like outpace or like beat up your opponent. But in reality, what they don't see is like all the time that you spend just in the gym or like on the street, like just running and then losing a shit ton of weight and not drinking water. But it's the same with startups, really. Again, like I said, I didn't have any technical skills, so I kid you not, the first 3 months, every single day I would go into the office from like 9 to like 6. I'd just sit there and I'd just code. So yeah, 3 months of this, and then on the weekends I'd be doing it at home. So like that's the boring stuff that no one really wants to talk about. But
yeah,
it's
like whenever you're pitching or even like, let's say, talking right now, it's like people hear the good bits, they hear how much money you've raised, they hear kind of like even your ability to code, but then it's like, how did you actually get there, right? So see, whenever, because I assume a lot of people that are watching or listening to this, they might not necessarily know, let's say, how to code. When you were building the startup, were you learning to code based on just were your projects of coding like your startup, or were you learning to code and then doing the startup?
Oh, you mean like am I like like that go through like a lesson and then sort of like then build the thing, or am I like building and learning at the same time?
Yeah.
I guess kind of both. I think you need like a baseline level of knowledge, just like, you know, how do you declare a variable? Like what's a loop? You know, like how does like a web framework works? Like, you know, how what's the React syntax? Something like that. That stuff you can't really learn on the job.
Yeah.
But I think there's stuff like, you know, I want to build this feature. Like, I want it so when I press this button, like a screen pops up. That you don't have to learn like in like a lesson. You just kind of, okay, I want to build this thing. And go into YouTube and be like, okay, screen pop up React or something like that, and then and then you just like copy their code, and then now you know how to do it.
Was it like, were you coding to make an app, or like was it a platform on a website or something?
What do you mean?
Like you learned code, right? Was it for like just to make an app?
I made a web app.
Web app. Okay.
A website.
A website.
Yeah.
But you said web app. What's the difference between?
Well, I mean, most websites nowadays are web apps.
Could you give us like examples?
I'll be honest with you. Like, these two things are used so interchangeably. I don't think I have like technical
like
knowledge.
the line to distinguish.
Yeah. I think, again, don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
Because I'm speaking out of, I'm over-indexing here. I think a website is something static. Like, it's just like, it just displays like text, and there's not much that you can interact with. Maybe you can like redirect and stuff. A web app, it's like everything else. Like, you know, Instagram, you can post a message, you can send a message to your friends and whatnot.
You can interact with a lot more. In a way.
Yeah, it's just more like complex and dynamic. I think. Don't quote me on this.
No quote.
That's really cool. That is really cool.
This is bothering me. Hold on. You can keep asking. I'm gonna look up what the difference is.
no, go on. No, I mean like,
yeah, keep talking.
Because when I go into like a website like Apple, right? Have you been on the Apple website? Yeah. It's awesome. Like when you scroll down, there's different animations and stuff like that. But I guess, would that be a website or a web app? Because you can't do stuff like send a message like you can on Instagram. If you open Instagram now.
Yeah. It's the type of thing. It's like because there's so many different.
I was right. Okay.
Okay, well, you're right.
So web app involves like interaction for like the end user. So like I can interact with the website.
Yeah.
So with the web app, website is just like a collection of like related web pages, and it's usually static. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're used so interchangeably, like no one knows the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to talk about Jamie actually.
Yep.
Did you meet him? Did you get the chance to meet him in person in Taiwan?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We're like, I would say good friends at this point.
Really? That's cool. He started this like program, or we established that it wasn't really a startup, because it was more like a grant kind of program. Did you get a chance to talk to him, like why he's doing this, his like reason behind giving students this opportunity?
Like I said, it's the ethos of the program, which is Taiwan has a lot of really talented people, but not an entrepreneurial mindset. And
but you're in London, right?
Yep.
So he was also kind of reaching out internationally, not just in Taiwan.
Me?
No, Jamie.
No. The program was launched in Taiwan, and you had to be in Taiwan to do it.
Oh, okay.
I am Taiwanese, and my aunt worked with like his like founders. Yeah. She heard the thing, sent me the link, and I applied. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're still doing this AI therapist. You still have this AI therapist company. For anyone that wants to find it, what is it called?
It's called Call Me. Call Me, like CALMI.
I like that because yeah. And how's it going now? How's it going?
So I'm running the study with UCL on it. I'm writing out my dissertation on the company. So yeah.
And if you had to choose one, what's the most valuable thing you've learned through making this company in the field that it's in, which is like therapy and self-help? What's one thing that you've taken away that's really stuck with you?
One thing.
Damn.
There's a lot.
Yeah, have a think about it.
I think
I like this. I'm trying to think.
It's a tricky question. Like, imagine if you got asked, like, what's one thing you took away from the last 2 years of your life?
Yeah.
That's a bit of a mean question. Sorry.
No. I like mentally like challenging
question.
Yeah. I think it would be. I think the most I got out of this entire like year or like program is just like, okay, for a bit of context, prior to applying for like Jamie's gap year program, I was considering going into corporate.
The reaction.
Yeah. For reasons that I won't go into detail because it involve trash talking other people.
Yeah, it's fine.
I was made to feel not enough because in second year my life wasn't like figured out. Okay. And while I was I applied for UBS. I got onto a human resource like summer internship at UBS bank.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know, while I got that like letter of like acceptance,
Yeah.
I wasn't happy. I was just like to in some sense I felt like I was like signing my life away.
Yeah.
But like again, like this person that made me feel this way, kind of have their life like figured out. So like in a sense, like, you know, I can't say anything because like,
Yeah.
you know, you have your shit figured out and I don't.
But that's different because people have different values.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
different goals,
Like
right?
like and I think that's one of the things that I learned. And I would just like to clarify, I don't hate this person for for what they did, because I think it's a problem that a lot of people struggle with, because like I said, all you get to see is the glitz and the glamour in like other people's lives. So when people don't know what they want in life, they go for what other people like want, if that makes sense, because that's a safe bet. So like if I don't know what I want, then I guess I would just go be an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor, because that's what, you know, pays well and that's what everyone's like going for.
Choice to make.
It's a safe choice. I don't say it's an easier choice because by no means are those like jobs easy.
No, I mean like it's an easy decision for you to make. You don't have to think about like what you really want in life. It's just easy because it's like other people can't just do that. So.
But I have always been very stubborn, and I've just always had this conviction that I want to do what I want to do. Otherwise, I won't be happy. And being happy is like all I. It's like it's the most important thing, because why live life if you can't be happy? And yeah, like I said, I did not do well in second year, like academically wise, because most of the modules I was taking was so fucking boring.
What modules?
Huh?
What modules?
Like,
did you
my
have to
God,
do?
I had to learn about linguistics, and I was like,
Wait,
to all the people that like linguistics, out there, I'm sorry, but like I don't want to study what tongue position like my tongue is in to make what sound, and like to learn all the technical terminology of like you know what a glottal stop is and what like a
Sounds like you know
off.
that.
I know. Like what's like an aerated sound, like a non-nasal sound.
How
Like,
is
anyways,
that related to like
psychology and language sciences. That's the course that I take.
Oh, so it's the extra bit.
Granted, there were really cool stuff that I learned about language, but still, there was just like modules I did not want to study.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what I did want to do, at that time was run my boxing club, because that made me really happy, and I got a lot of joy out of coaching people, and it made me feel really rewarded to see, you know, my club doing well, yada yada yada. Again, like in terms of like future prospects, at that, while I was doing it, I wasn't thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about this on my CV, or like, on my job, or like, you know, this will lead to this, and then that will lead to like the next thing. No, I was just doing like what I like doing, and that has been how like my ethos for living my life. And the one thing that I got out of this like, you know, gap year or like program is that before I say this, I'm not confident that what I say applies to everyone, so please take this with a grain of salt. But doing what you love to do and being really, really, really good at like what you love doing is a viable path, even if the future isn't like super clear. It's a very insecure way of like looking at life, because it's like just saying like have faith, trust in it, trust in the process. But it's worked out so far for me. Like I have been ridiculously lucky, but yeah, I want to believe that like this mindset has contributed to it, and that will be you know, like my one takeaway. Sorry, that took like 15 minutes to answer that question.
I think,
but
I mean,
yeah,
I think you went into a lot there, like a lot about the fact that you applied to this internship, and then your friend pressuring you almost, and then went back to like the big life lesson you learned. And actually, you also mentioned, you hinted at your boxing as well. Where did you start with your boxing? Like, where did it all start?
I was getting bullied at school. My teacher taught Chinese Kung Fu at school, and then I was like, cool, I'll learn. And then one of my other friends was doing boxing, and because it's like combat sports, he took me to the gym. I fell in love, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. What age were you?
16.
16?
Yep.
Oh wow. And when you started boxing, was it something that kind of it had a calling in a way to you? Saying like, you know what, I can see myself doing this in the future.
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean by in the future?
So,
like, is this just something that I want to do?
It's like something that you...
It's a good point, actually, when you said.
Yeah.
Because
it's like
you said, like, and I think that's the same for me and you sometimes. Like, is it something you like doing right now that you can see yourself doing tomorrow, or is it something? Is it important to think about the future? Like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this in the next year. I don't know if I can see myself doing it, but I can see myself doing it tomorrow. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess it's like what I mean, and that's something that I guess that wasn't the best word to describe it.
Yeah.
I guess something that was very attractive at that time to do.
I think every single athlete out there, especially like from the like at the beginning, you have to be delusional, because sport is such a ridiculously competitive area. Like, like okay, like for example, like tech, for example, right? You can have Apple and Microsoft. You guys can coexist, right? You have all these other companies, you know, Asus, Acer, MSI, all these companies. You can coexist, right? You can all sell like your computers to each other, to your customers, and then, you know, all make money. That's not the case with sport. You can only have one winner. If you're second place, like no one gives a shit if you're second place. Right? No one gives a shit if you're second place, especially in boxing. Yeah. Right? Especially in boxing, no one gives a shit if you're second place.
That's so true as well.
Especially in like professional boxing. For a very long time, I think this is moving away from this mindset now, but for a very long time, you have to be undefeated to be a good boxer. Yeah. Right? Like, if you're not undefeated, like, you know, you had your ass beat one time, and like people would be like, you know, you suck and whatnot. Especially like the people that like fucking couch potatoes. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Sport is ridiculously competitive. the odds of you winning is so low. So you have to be a little bit delusional. I was delusional enough to think that I had a chance at going to like Olympics, like for Taiwan and whatnot. Yeah. And looking at it objectively, that's fucking ridiculous. Okay. Like even saying like, because I started boxing quite late. 16 is quite late to start boxing. Most people would have been like, oh, you know, just do it as a hobby. But if you want to win national, it's gonna be pretty impossible.
What age do people usually start?
Like, you know, Floyd Mayweather started when he was like 4, and like Manny Pacquiao started boxing when he was like 10. Yeah. Lomachenko when he was 6. So like,
so you're quite late in a way.
Yeah, I'm very very late. But these people, I somehow believed that if I worked hard enough, I would be able to do crazy shit with boxing. Yeah. And while I wasn't, while I'm not like a Olympic gold medalist now, I still like, you know, did decently well in like quite a few competitions. So. Yeah.
I mean, you were speaking to the national champion of Taiwan. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So
a few competitions.
Yeah, I mean that's
I was national champion once. I medaled a few times.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty insane. 2 questions for you here. Actually, I'll just ask the first question first. Firstly, how has the training been? You know, been boxing 6 years. Training wise, when it's leading up to nationals, you know, maybe a year before, how intense would it like? Take me through a day of like training boxing.
It wouldn't be a year before. Like, like real like intense training happens like 2 months.
Okay, yeah.
Tops.
Yeah.
Tops. Because that level of intensity you just can't maintain for like a whole year.
Yeah. They call it camps, right? Or something. Yeah. So, take me through a day in your life, I guess.
Of a camp.
Yeah.
Well, to be completely honest with you, I didn't have camps because when you're in amateurs, you have a life.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
I was 16. I had high school. I had like, and then when I'm in the UK, I have university. I have other shit to do. You only ever see pros doing camps, like, you know, training camps and whatnot, because that's like their livelihood. That's
they
like
get
their
paid
career.
for it.
Yeah, they get paid for it. Most importantly. So I can run you through like what I would do, like what I did for like 2 years to like get me to like national champion level, which was I wake up at sometimes I'll wake up at 6, go for a run.
Yeah. Before school, and then
how long usually?
Like 5-10K. Yeah, somewhere in between. And then after that, my school starts at like I have to leave at like 7 or like 7:30, and then school. I get home at around 5 maybe, and then 5, and then 6, I think at 7 that's when my training starts.
Yeah.
And then I train from 7 to 10.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then you wake back up at 6 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's quite late for training wise. And then, like, would you eat like after you came back home, or was it before training? Like,
guys, I'll be honest with you, like, this is like a long time ago.
Back.
I probably ate in like the 2-hour window that I had there.
Fair.
But I also had to do like some schoolwork and whatnot.
Yeah. One thing I'm really interested in is like, it is a physical sport, right? Boxing.
No. It's like, you know, it's like badminton. You just like, you know.
Yeah. But like, I hear a lot of people talk about the physical training, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about the mental side of it. Is there a mental side of boxing that you can train?
Absolutely.
How did you train it?
Boxing, as physical as it seems, it's I would say 80-90% mental.
Oh.
It's a very scary sport. It's another one of the reasons why I quit, because like when you're boxing, you're in a ring and you're standing across another person, and that person is trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Like that's about as close as it's going to be. Like it's close to like dying as it's going to be. And when you're like exhausted, and you have a person throwing punches at you,
and everyone's watching you.
And everyone's watching you. Yeah, on top of that, that is a lot of pressure. On top of that, remember when I said sport is like the most ridiculously competitive thing in the world. You can only have one winner. You just spent 2 months working your ass off, like doing what I said just now every single day. And like if you fuck this up, all of that would have been for nothing. Like that like weighs heavy on the brain.
Yeah.
I did not perform particularly well under these conditions. And every single time I got on stage, every single time I got on stage, like I was scared shitless. I'm telling you, I was scared. Like I think 3/4 of like my fights, I cried afterwards. Because like it was like a full-on panic attack. Like after the fights, it's so like nerve-wracking.
I assume like you can't. Well, it's not that you can't, but you don't want to show that before the fight.
No,
Yeah,
you think I'm gonna cry on stage? No,
No, but even that, like,
find a janitor's closet and then sob my eyes out and then come out.
It breaks your mentality, like going into the fight as well. I mean, you're saying like you might have had you're a bit emotional after some fights. Were these fights you lost, or even fights you won as well?
It would be like fights that I lost, mostly. I think. Yeah. Mostly like fights that I lost.
Yeah, because all that work. Put in.
All that was like down the drain. And like I'll be honest with you, a lot of the times, I'm just glad the fight's over. Like I didn't even care for like whether I like won or not. I just wanted to end.
Yeah.
And that was especially near like the end of like my career. It was just like I don't like this anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
And how do you even prepare for that?
Like mentally.
Yeah.
You visualize. You meditate. Experience is a big part of it. Funny enough, I think like the first few fights I had, my first few fights I won, right? Because the opponent quality wasn't that good. So I had this like invincible mindset. I wasn't scared. Yeah.
The Olympics.
And then and then I tasted my first loss, and that was holy shit. That was so like.
Yeah.
That was like fucking stabbed in the heart.
Was that where you learnt the most, like from your first loss?
Huh?
Was that where you learnt the most from your first loss?
I wouldn't like. After a while, they kind of blend together. Like, the losses, like. I don't know. I just stopped enjoying it past some point. It's just like before even getting onto the stage, my like heart rate's like at like a 120, like 130.
That's crazy.
Just like pure nerves, But again, I think that's benefited me greatly outside of boxing, because unless I'm in a like one-on-one situation, even if I'm in a one-on-one situation where I'm like I have to fight to my death, I would be calmer than like the average person.
Yeah.
But like my threshold for like stress is very high.
I mean, Reese here does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. Is it like scary for you as well before a fight, like he's explaining?
I think it's less scary because, in my opinion, like in striking sports, like you get hit, like you feel it. But in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's not until the very end, right?
Yeah. And like you tap, they let go, right?
Yeah, you tap, they let go, like you don't break your arm.
There's no like fear of like being knocked out in front of all your friends and family.
I think knockout. Yeah. It's like, it's just the nerves like of the end result of like winning. I think that happens in kind of like everything, pitch competitions, like,
Please, like I don't even get worried about like pitches or like presentations now. Listen, when you've been on stage in front of your friends and family, while someone's like throwing punches at you, and like your only thing you're thinking about is please, for the love of God, don't get knocked out in front of like my like family and friends.
Yeah.
Pitch competition is nothing. Like a pitch is just standing in front of talking.
Yeah.
Right? I won't die. There's no chance of me dying.
0%
I've been through worse. Yeah.
So would you recommend like people to go through, well, not that.
Go for a combat sport.
Yeah, or like similar experience.
No.
No.
No. I think there's value in sport.
Uh-huh.
But I think I would not recommend anyone our age to start a new sport and try to become super competitive at it. I think the relative returns that you get for like the amount of effort that you have to put in to get to a certain level, it's just not worth it. I would say that to a kid, be like, because like, the fuck's kid gonna do? Like just school, like shit to worry about. But I think giving the mindset of putting in work because you want to and because you believe in something, because you like think it's like your responsibility to work this hard for like this thing, like the competition, for example, is a really good mindset to have. Because at the end of the day, no one's gonna tell me, like, if I don't run the miles, if I don't wake up at 6 and go run, no one's gonna be like, I'm gonna punish you, or like, you know, you have to do this shit. No one's gonna do that. Like, I do it because I want to, and because I think this is what I have to do. And I think that builds conviction in a person. But if for someone our age to do that, I mean, like starting a gym routine, like running every single day is good. Like, you know, building a routine, good. Recommend 100%. But to do that, but on like a
competitive scale
is a completely different story.
Yeah, completely different ball game. Awesome, really awesome. So, we've talked about your boxing, we talked about your startup. I want to go now into kind of your projects that you're doing now, like currently. Yep. So I understand you're ASUS director.
Yeah.
So how did that? come about?
Right. This whole startup, this whole like fucking gap year thing. We started off of like me going to the States.
Yeah.
Yes. So while I was on my gap year, one of the fellows on Jamie's program, his name is Caleb. He happened to know. Before I say this, ASUS is affiliated student.
Oh, like what
affiliated Stanford entrepreneurial students.
Yes. That. Yes. I feel a little bit ashamed.
I've had to search up 3 times before because like people kept asking me what's ASUS.
For you guys watching, Reese is an applicant, and Remus here is a director. So that's how they know.
So there's this Stanford Society, entrepreneurship society in Stanford Society. Sorry. Entrepreneurship society in Stanford. It's called ASUS, and each year they host a summit to get 30 student entrepreneurs around the world to come in and then sort of go around Silicon Valley, get lectures from speakers, and all that. And while I was on Jamie's Gap Year program, one of the fellows, my friend Caleb, he knew, I think, the head of ASUS Manila, and then through him, I, got into the ASUS Summit, and I went there for a week. It was really cool to like see sort of what this whole Silicon Valley energy was about. And at the end, I did a pitch competition with Dorothy, Alex, fuck, what's his name? Shit.
It's okay. We can edit it out.
Yeah, please edit this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a pitch competition. I did with a team of people, and we got first place. And then after that, Reese, who is
Reese Wong.
I think you guys did a interview.
Yeah.
So Reese did Reese and I were asked by the directors of Stanford ASUS to help them start a chapter in London, and we were like, cool, exciting opportunity, and I think I was really into startups at this point, so I was like, sure, why not?
Yeah. And did you meet Reese through ASUS,
Yeah.
I take it.
I met Reese through ASUS. We were just there, and I was like, oh, like, where do you go? It's like London. I was like, oh, which university? It's like LSE. I was like, oh, yeah, we're neighbours. Like, you know.
And how has ASUS London been so far? How has ASUS London been so far?
I mean, go on, you.
Okay. Yeah. No. For me, like, it actually is really, really lovely. I think it's interesting to have like kind of those accountability workshops every single week, and just for kind of a 10-week program where you learn everything startup based, right? And of course, like the prize at the end, getting a trip to Stanford, like this summit is obviously very attractive. And of course, it's like so much work, I assume, to organize something every week, especially very high profile speakers. Like, how did you get those speakers? Did you know them before, or was it through ASUS?
It was through ASUS.
Okay.
Just again, like having the ASUS name opened quite a few doors for us, and like Stanford alumni's. We had a mailing list, blasted the mails out, and then we got a few replies, and
Where do you see ASUS London in the future?
So. This was like a topic that we talked about in our meetings, like how are we gonna carry this on, whatnot. But the plan, or like the goal, is that one of the fellows down the line, for example, would help us carry on, become the director, help us run the program again, because now we have the blueprint and we get more support from the ASUS headquarters. But to an extent, it's also kind of like ASUS headquarters' job to ensure that their chapters have people to run it for them.
So they have the speakers.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, unfortunately, our podcast is coming to an end, but I'm going to ask a penultimate question before we ask our final one, which is how we usually end these podcasts. But we talked about your whole life and your boxing career and stuff, and you mentioned specifically how you were able to apply things you learned from your sport, from your boxing, into your startup world, or whatever you're doing now in your life, like the lessons you've taken away. Do you have one particular example, one moment where you realize this is so useful, this is such a useful thing that I learned from boxing, I'm so glad I did it because it's really relevant to what I'm doing now? Do you have one particular example that you remember?
For boxing?
Yeah, something that you learned from boxing which you applied to your life and has really helped you.
I think I said it already, which is most people, they only see the 9 minutes and the last 30 seconds of the glitz and the glamour, where you're getting your hand raised and you're showing off on stage. But what they don't see is the boring and dull side of winning, which is waking up at 6, being disciplined.
So it's more like the iceberg. If you had the example of the iceberg, you only see the tip of the iceberg, but not what's below. So it's that side. Okay.
And I think too many people try to chase just the 9-minute bit instead of trying to go through the whole thing.
I see. My final question is for our viewers watching right now. What is one actionable step that they can do right now to get to where you are?
Get to where I am. One actionable step. This is going to be a very hot take.
Okay, I love it.
Finding a partner, or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and trying to make it work, because being in a relationship teaches me so much more practical skills than being a boxer. Obviously, boxing has its merits, but guys, if you can, try and commit yourself to a long-term relationship, especially now, while you have time to fail. Yeah.
That's a really interesting one.
It's a unique one. We've not heard that one.
Yeah,
We
like
usually ask the same question too, I guess.
I have a lot of different ones, and
It's the same thing. Like if you think about it, with a startup, you oftentimes you'll be working with a co-founder, or like you'll be working with someone, or not even in like a relation, not even in like a startup or like a co-founder, just in general, like working with people. The most important thing that you learn in a relationship is that, you know, it's not you against the other person, especially when you're trying to make something work.
Yeah.
It's the two of you against a problem that you guys have. And sorry, am I going over time?
no.
What do you want to say?
Do you want to finish it or don't me to?
Do you have something to say? Do you want to ask a question?
Well, I don't have a question. That's the final.
You sure?
one. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. You can continue what you're saying. I think you were talking about like when you're in a relationship, two people working towards a problem. Don't worry, we'll edit this out.
You're two people working towards a problem, and like most of the time, it's not the problem that causes an argument. It's how the two of you deal with like facing a problem. Like for example, some people get really anxious and like, okay, fuck, I need to like fix this right now. I do this right now. Another person, they're like, okay, you know what, I don't want to think about this. And then you have this clash of like, okay, like the anxious person is like, oh, why is this person like not like thinking about this? And then the avoidant person is like, why are you pestering me with this problem? I just like deal with it tomorrow. And this happens everywhere. And I think being in a committed long-term relationship teaches you forces you to deal with these problems. Yeah. Especially if you're like thinking about like long-term how to like make a relationship work. And I think that is one of the most difficult things that like I learned how to do, which is, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but genuinely see something from another person's perspective and being okay with it, and just finding out and like adapting to like how they like do things. And also, I think as people our age move on from like a place where like, you know, before in school your friends would be your classmates because you all have to come and like hang out in this one spot. In university that's kind of like less so, like
so different.
You still kind of like meet like friends from like lectures and all that, and like academic tutorials and whatnot. But when you move into like work, you kind of get these like sort of environments less and less and less and less. And
hidden that out.
and like I think it's true. When my days are like really, really, really shit, it's really, really helpful to have someone to come home to and like to be able to chat to and like to be there to like support you. And also very importantly, it's learning to support someone else when your day might not be going particularly well, or when their day is like going through like absolute shit. I think it just makes you a better person.
That's really
and being like empathetic, just hearing people out, and that would be like my hot take.
Unique piece of advice. Like as I said before, we never heard it any other guests in this podcast. But I guess it also applies to like friendships with like me and you, right? Like you were saying, almost relational partner complementary. I'm gonna butcher this word, but being complementary with your partner, like fitting that piece of the puzzle that's like incomplete. For example, like you're saying, if you're getting stressed in one situation, then
wait, I'm sorry to cut you off. When one of the most important things that I can't believe I forgot to say. The reason why I recommend finding a long-term partner is because it's so fucking difficult. And when you fail in a startup, you lose money, and like you get stressed. That's it. When you fail in a relationship, you get personally hurt. If you can learn to bounce back from that, and like still continue to like believe in good and believe in, because you will meet shitty people and shitty people will like cheat on you and whatnot. If you can continue to believe that someone out there is like right for me and whatnot, and have that kind of conviction, I think that's really, really, really helpful in everywhere else. Because in business or like in work or in whatnot, rarely are you personally like hurt, like your core values are like, you know, like shaken. But like in a relationship, to have a successful relationship, you have to open yourself up for that. And odds are you are going to get hurt. Okay, odds are like the first one you find or like the first 5 you find are not going to be good. But I think if you're able to get hurt like that, bounce back and then keep going, that skill will transfer into other domains in your life.
I think especially for a committed long-term relationship, you're with this, you want to find that person for life. And there's like compromises that both have to make, and there's so many challenges.
And I think like startups, you only need to win once. You know, like you only need to find that one good idea. And then you're set. Right? And it's the same thing with long-term relationships. You're gonna kiss a lot of frogs. We just kiss one white frog and it turns into princess, and then boom, you're done.
Wow, I like that. Kiss the frog and make it into princess.
Obviously, like I don't want to like objectify like relationships because it's not something like it. I can talk about this, like we can do a whole conversation on like my understanding of relationships, but it's not like I think a lot of people objectify and commoditize relationships. So it's like, oh, you know, once this person's my partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, or whatever, it's like they're an object. I can put them on my shelf and they'll just stay there forever. Relationship is like a skill. If you don't practice it, you're gonna get shit at it. And then when you get shit at it, you're gonna lose that skill. I like it's a very interesting way of approaching that. Like,
you're dealing with a human being that is thinking. I mean, like I can't believe, because I'm sorry, I can go on a rant about like, modern values of relationship, but essentially that's what it is. Right? It's a skill, and again, like it's something that I derive from boxing. So as you can see, it's all related. It's like any skill. If you stop practicing, you suck. And then if I go into a ring now after 6 months of not boxing, I'm gonna get my shit fucked. Okay, but like it's that. But also at the same time, you just need to find that one right person. And so you know, there's a balance of like, you know, how you think.
It's like it needs constant attention. You can't just leave it. Because otherwise it'll go away. But I really like the way you explained it and the way you take that piece of like advice or that lesson and apply it from relationship to different part of your life and how you think it's really important. I love that. Well, unfortunately, we have run out of time for our podcast, but thank you very much, Remus, for joining us. We have talked about so much, and it's been such a natural conversation as well. Like, I know I've loved it. I'm sure Reese has as well. But thank you very much for coming on, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that was amazing.
That was such a genuine.
That was such a genuine, natural. It's like probably one of those natural ones.
I really.
You guys have unnatural conversations.
Not really, but like it just keeps getting better each time.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? Like the first one, I still remember the first one we did with our co-president of our society, King's Entrepreneurs, and he sat right there. And like, I don't know, it felt like weird compared to how it feels. Like now we're just chilling out, like sitting back in our chairs, and it feels so chill.
Conversation. I liked the hot take.
Thank you.
It was so unique. Like genuinely, I've never heard that advice before. Like from anyone else, but not anyone on the podcast, but like generally, like from mentors or whatever.
I'll say so. That's the one that resonates with me the most.
I mean, you're in a relationship. I'm not. So
it's a sign. Should we stop the recording?
Oh yeah, sure.
How did you find it then?
Oh, it was great. It was great fun. I mean, it was my first time ever doing a podcast. So